Okay, this last video for payroll accounting, chapter 6, has to do with forms W-2 and W-3. So I think we're all familiar with the W-2. We receive one of those at the end of the year. In fact, it's required that our employer provide us with a W-2 by January 31st. We need copy B, copy C, copy 2. Most of us probably file electronically now, so we probably don't pay a whole lot of attention to what those copies mean. If you really want to know, you can look on your W-2 and see exactly what those mean. But let's see here. The employer, they give us the W-2 by January 31st, and they have to send the same information to the Social Security Administration by either March 1st or March 31st. So it's March 1st if they're doing paper copies, or March 31st if they're filing e-copies with the Social Security Administration. And they're going to use the employee earnings records for this information. That's where all of this comes from. And it's usually at the touch of a button is how they determine all of that. On page 203 is an example of the W-2 along with all the explanations for all the lines, which continues on to page 204 and 205. And then some examples, which I'm just going to use the practice problem. The practice set B, problem number 6 for this one. And then on page 208 is the W-3. The W-3 is just a transmittal that tells the total of all the W-2s that you sent in, and all of its explanation. It's on page 208. Its explanations are on 209. So let's take a look at PSB 6-6 on page 220. Let's see. Let me skip over to that. Okay, so we have two employees, Rachel Flowers and Adrienne Pitts, for which we need to complete a W-2. So if there was any 401k withheld from the paycheck, the wages, tips, and other compensation is not going to necessarily match Social Security wages and Medicare wages. Also, if something was exempted from Social Security and Medicare wages, then those will be different. If somebody reached the 127.2, their Social Security wages are going to end at 127.2, and everything else will continue on. So let's read Rachel Flowers first. We have all of her information. She has a control number 4407, so that's line D right here, 4407. Gross earnings for federal income tax, Social Security, and Medicare were 101,470, so that's what we entered in lines 1, 3, and 5. And the taxes are listed here for lines 2, 4, and 6. The annual contribution, charitable contribution, was $260, so we'll go down to line 14 for other, and she had charity $260. Kentucky income tax withholding was $6,088.20. Usually whatever line 1 is, that's going to be the same for line 16. And then line 17 is the actual tax that came out. There's nothing else. So that's the end of her W-2. Let's look at the next employee. That's going to be Adrienne Pitts. And we have that person's information. Gross earnings are $132,460. So line 1 is $132,460, but Social Security wages is going to end at $127.2. Remember that. And Medicare taxes, $141,460 for line 5. So that means something must have been exempted from taxable income for federal income tax purposes. So let's find out. We have the federal income tax, Social Security, and Medicare listed, so we're going to enter those in lines 2, 4, and 6 in order. The annual charitable contribution was $675, and 401k was $9,000. So there's our $9,000. The difference between lines 1 and 5 is $9,000. So charity went in line 14 again. But the 401k contribution goes in line 12, and that's usually labeled as a D. And the only way that you would know that, you'd probably have to look back in the chapter to find that information. Let's see, when you're looking at the W-2 for line 12B, yeah, see, and they don't even have that particular one. So you have to actually look at a W-2 statement for the explanation for that. And let's see if they actually have that down here. I'm not seeing it here. but maybe it's at the top. No. So how you would know that is from me telling you. Otherwise, I don't know how you would have known that, other than maybe if you looked it up. What's the code on your W-2 for Social Security, for 401k contributions? You could certainly do that. So I think that's the end of the W-2. Then the W-3 is going to be all of the W-2s added together, and since they only have 2 employees, we're going to add both of their wages together. So our their total Social Security wages, their federal wages, Social Security wages, Medicare wages, and all of the tax that was withheld. They had $9,000 for 401k. It looks like they don't even have a place for the other charity. They don't even include that there, but their state, and then the signature at the bottom. And that's really the end of it. Again, this is explained in the chapter, within the chapter. Every one of these lines is going to be explained for you if you need any additional help. And that's it.